I thought it was going to be a bunch of cool people getting together in a house in a cool place in Guatemala, and that was a very appealing concept for me, especially right now in a COVID challenging time where I was craving social interaction and doing so in a safe way. And uh, and yeah, and in many ways, it delivered on that for me. It delivered on just being a bunch of people that I wanted to spend time with and hang out with and get to co-work with and learn from and teach and share experiences with. And it was a much needed experience at this point in time in my life.
I think my expectations were pretty high coming in. We literally bought a camper van in Mexico to drive to Guatemala for this experience. So our expectations were definitely up there. Um, and I think it's fair to say that this has been perhaps the best month of my life, like without exaggeration. Um, and to try and begin to explain the magic that has happened in the last 30 days is challenging. I think if I was to really sum it up, it feels like I found family and I found tribe and I feel like I found my people and I didn't even realize that that was missing from my life. Um, I feel at home here. There's a sense of real trust and support and connection and fun and creativity, and I feel like I am a better person around these people in this group in this experience house.
Before coming here, I thought that I would be coming to a place in which I'm going to be surrounded by amazing people. That was the case. But I did not expect that on top of that fundamental base of having amazing people and a beautiful environment, there would be so much activities going on, and so much serendipity between the people that have been here. I think that you organized it in a way in which we were able to have a lot of like physical space, and in which we were able to have a lot of different types of moments and states in which we could mingle and exchange.
I think coming into this, I thought it would be a bit more of an incubator style of a month where you and Matt set the tone and kind of have a very somewhat rigid structure around it. And what it turned out to be was a co created month where it's like, this is the calendar, this is the time, how can you add value? And that allowed us to get to know one another better because we were able to share from that space. And instead of telling you who I am, I could show you. It's one of the most beautiful things to co create as opposed to allow you guys to take us through this journey when we could just go through it together.
Honestly, my expectations for this place were a little blurry. Like, I didn't fully understand what this was going to be, but one of my great friends, Guy, with whom I have a lot of trust, and is kind of the king of these kind of experiences. He's like the king of co-living. Pulled me in and he said, Kelsey, like, I think you should do this. And so I had sort of like a suspended sense of belief, of needing to figure out what it was beforehand, but I just knew after seeing all the people that were going to be here, that no matter what happened, just sharing a house with these like amazingly creative, ambitious, diverse, multi-layered type of people. You know, I felt like no one here has one title or one role or does one thing. It's like and. And I just felt like I needed to put myself in that environment and just see what happened.
So I think I knew that I knew that it was going to be an experience where people were going to bond with one another and create deep friendships and surprise each other in ways that they couldn't even have imagined. And I think that's because I'm lucky to have access to similar containers than this. What has surprised me though is how much people poured themselves into the experience and gave their time, their energy, pulled their creativity, surprised themselves into creating new things, into tapping into parts of themselves that they haven't explored so much. And it felt a bit like I guess a lab for people to explore parts of themselves. And I think that there was this nice balance between people kind of knowing or building close relationships with some people, but at the same time having enough people that at least at the start they didn't know to kind of tap into that side of themselves that they haven't really pushed yet. And I think that now the relationships that people have built or relationships that people came in with are a way to have accountability systems over time and hopefully implement some things that they have tapped into this month into their real life outside of this bubble.
A month long. To me, I was signing up for a residency of some sort. I don't really know what a residency is. I've never been to an artist residency either. I was just excited to have some more structure to my life. I've been working remotely for a couple of months at that point, and so to be surrounded by some sort of a community that was more centered and not as scattered all over the place, like physically, that was really exciting to me. But prior to coming here, I had no idea about co-living as philosophy or a lifestyle. I've known about intentional living community, but I didn't realize that this was part of a whole genre of types of experiences. So I came in with a completely blank slate, positive, excited. I felt really comfortable, but every day was just completely unexpected because I didn't know what this was. It was just okay, this is my life for the next month. And it was a completely new experience. I can't really say I can compare it to anything else.
So when you and I first started chatting, on our first call, months ago, before there was a sales page or anything, I honestly wasn't quite sure what I was signing up for, but the way you were speaking about it and the way that you had this vision, so the vision for Experience House was all heart, but there was flexibility in kind of what happened. So for me, the idea of what I was signing up for was coming into a container that had intentionality, but it was fluid in how things happen. I didn't know what I was signing up for. I knew that there was heart and people, and the idea of an experience house of experienced designers, it sounded so meta to me. And if it wasn't so niche, I don't know if it would have been such a hell yes. So even though there was ambiguity, I knew that it would be magic. What it ended up being was so much more than I could have thought, because not just the people in the container that was set, but the unpredictability of it. So for me, variety is such a huge value. And as an experienced designer and a mastermind architect, and pattern recognition and knowing what comes next is kind of my default. And here, you really get this beautiful playground of variety where you don't know what's going to happen next, but somehow it's exactly what you need. So in that vein, I feel like it's been a sandbox to play for each of our own little like niche levels of expertise and interests and curiosities. And it's been a container to receive. So oftentimes when you're, the one behind the scenes, like masterminding all the elements, and, you walk into a room and you see, the possibilities, it's not common that you get to walk in and experience someone else's genius in a way that allows you to really feel it and experience it and learn from it. So yeah, I had no idea, but it ended up being kind of a little bit of everything.
I didn't have that many expectations, like you said. Like I've been traveling for 5 years, and I just go from one adventure to the next, and for me it just seemed like, oh, this is another cool adventure. And the thing that really attracted me to it is that I'm already part of communities, and I already experience community living, which I'm very grateful for. But something that was really attractive about this is that it's an entirely new community and new people. And like, I was really intrigued by what happens when we put strangers together, and can we build a community in a month? So that's what intrigued me about it. And I guess the reality of it is that, I was really surprised at how quickly connections were formed. I think most of us were surprised by that. And I think this was partly due to everyone being already kind of open to forming connections and to giving a lot. And also it was due to the experiences we created, because they were almost all around connecting, and the intention behind every experience was to bring us closer, for us to experience vulnerability or openness, or just like connecting deeper. Even for me, like the first dinner was one of the most powerful, because all the prompts were about connecting us deeper. And I remember like some moments of magic from just that dinner that I shared with you, which is that people just were super vulnerable to me like right away, and that was really beautiful. And I think we were all very intentional about how we designed spaces for deeper connection. And I think if we hadn't designed those spaces, we wouldn't have connected so deeply, so quickly. So I think everyone here was super talented and intentional about creating those spaces.
Coming in, I didn't have too many preconceived notions, because I knew that this was the first time that Experience House was taking place. But that said, I knew that magic was definitely going to unfold by having a curated group of people in a beautiful place together with freedom to kind of do and create whatever we want. And so I think I just came in with an open heart and feeling really receptive, but also having never lived in a community like this before, feeling a little nervous. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to match the other caliber of people that were here. And so I was a little timid and nervous at the very beginning. But what actually took place, was magic, is magic. But I didn't anticipate how transformative this was going to be for me from the inside out. I truly am a different woman today than I was a month ago when we first got in here.